get there we go. I was excited to get back in the swing of things today. And honestly, I don't know about you guys, but I needed it. I needed to like get my mindset back and get right today. This whole second wave of, Rochelle, long time no see. This whole second wave of the COVID stuff has been like wearing me down. I don't know if you guys feel like this. Totally not a political statement in any way or anything like that, but it's like you just don't know what to believe or who to listen to or what's right or what's wrong with it. Or it's like not vaccinated people get sick, vaccinated people get sick. I mean, it's just all over the place. And it's been stressing me out a little bit, to be honest. I hate it. I'm ready for all this to go away. So anyway, I'd like to, on that note, start with and I'd love for as many people as possible to type one positive thing in your life right now in the chat. There's Heather. One positive thing in your life right now in the chat. And that our lesson today is on gratitude. So that'll get us started in a gratitude space. And oh shoot, you know what? I wish I could show you this. I don't know if this is honestly, I don't know if this is a positive or if this is a negative, but I'll show you guys something really quickly that my family would say is a positive. Hold on, let me back out of that really fast. That my family would say is a positive right now, which is this little girl is on an airplane on her way to Charleston to join our family. And I'm a tiny bit stressed about it. However, I think it'll be positive. My hope is that it helps Frankie live longer, not stresses him out to the point of he wants to like run in traffic or anything. So say a prayer for us if you think about it, or send us positive vibes. But she's super cute. Her name is going to be Charlie with an I, and that's what the kids picked. She's a little Irish doodle something mini. And so you guys, we had a flight nanny bring her here, which is like the craziest thing. I'm like, how do you get that job? If I liked to fly, that's the job that I would want to have, is fly puppies around all day. Shannon, your husband should have done that. That would have been the job. Yes. Not a flight nanny is not a flight manny.
That little one would have been handled with like golden gloves if that were the case.
Right. Yes. Love it. Love it. Love it. Okay. So church family. Yes. Oh, Scott his positive thing is Troy Marsh. I don't know if Troy's on. I saw Ashley on. So you will have to share that with Troy, Ashley. That's so good, Scott. I'm glad to hear. I felt like you guys would be a good duo together. Dawn, good health. Yes. Oh, Abby, it's Poppy's Gotcha Day too. Oh my gosh, that's so exciting. Oh, they'll have the same birthday. Okay, so I wanted to share a couple of quick pics from my vacay. I'd never been to the Bahamas, and it got me in a great mindset. Speaking of mindset, everything was perfect there. The water was great. The beaches were great. The food was great. I know, Abby, you were just there too. Caitlin took this picture of Graham. It's like my new favorite picture ever. And I just loved being able to spend time with family. And I got to check off a bucket list, which was swimming with dolphins. I've had that on my list forever, wanted to do it for so long. And it was super, super fun. So with vacay in mind, I wanted to start quickly with this. I posted this, but I love this, and I wanted to remind you guys of it. Rick Warren has shared a great quote many, many years ago. You can Google it and you can read all about it, but he says you should divert daily, withdraw weekly, and abandon annually, meaning every day do something that relaxes you. I've taken on what Dawn Finch does, which is a 6 a.m. walk. I'm on day 5, I think, of it. And it's been really good for me. So something that relaxes you, gets you out of your stress, takes you out of work. This is, I think, the hardest probably for me. I don't know about you guys, would love to hear in the chat, but each week, taking a day to rest. It's biblical. So for those of you that are people of faith, that's what we're supposed to do. However, it's very hard to take a whole day of rest. And then lastly, every year, take time when you abandon it all, and you abandon annually. And so that was what I did last week. And it was actually really, really great. So I want to start with a couple of numbers for you guys in regards to mindset and optimism versus pessimism. And this came from actually this new magazine. I got it. I read it on the plane, and it's the new Time edition, but it's all about the power of positive thinking. And it's actually really good. I got a lot of good nuggets from it. But a couple of things: 13% of people with a positive outlook are much less likely to have a heart attack than their negative counterparts. Did you know that? If you have a positive outlook, you are 13% less likely. 40% optimists are much more likely than pessimists to get a work promotion within the next year. So if you are optimistic, you have a 40% shot. 145 represents pessimists report feeling stressed about money this many days more in a given year than optimists do. That one kind of shocked me, to be honest, but sounds true. 80% of the human population is inherently optimistic. They actually just might not know that they are, which also is a little shocking. 50% plus optimistic men and women are this much more likely to reach age 85 than their negative counterparts. So if you are optimistic, you have 50% or higher shot of living past 85 years old. This one was crazy. There's an article in there about Gen Zers, which I guess are does anybody know what year that is? It would be like the now, right? I think those are Gen Z now. Believe that they have the potential to shape the world. 62%. They say Gen Zers are actually more optimistic than a lot of the other generations are. And this actually shows it in the study that they did. 5 times optimists are this much less likely than pessimists to get burned out. So if you are a pessimist, you are 5 times more likely to get burned out than optimists will. And we're going to kind of talk about that. 6 times optimists are this much more likely than pessimists to be highly engaged at work. So if you are an optimist, you have 6 times more shot of being engaged at work. And 11% plus is how much longer optimists may live compared to non-optimists. And then 63% of employers named mindfulness and mental health as a top focus since the pandemic. So everything is kind of shifting. I think this might be our last one. 56% is the percentage by which optimistic salespeople outsell their pessimistic counterparts. For all you realtors on the Zoom right now, or anybody that's in sales, optimistic people actually sell 56% more. And then this one was crazy. 93% of the most resilient Americans say that mindset and mental health is as important as physical health to them. And I don't know, I'm sure many of you would agree. I would 100% agree with that. If you don't have your mindset and your mental health right, it's hard to have your physical health right. So what is an optimist? There's a big difference between toxic positivity, living in denial, and having a positive outlook. The latter, having the positive outlook, can improve not only your mental state, but also your overall well-being. True optimism isn't about living in denial of reality at all. It's really about accepting even the most troubling challenges and obstacles with perspective and a clear-eyed intent to not let them stop you from enjoying the best version of your life. So I loved this part because I think when we think about our mindset, well, let me back up. We all are going to have times where we are having challenges or obstacles, some a lot more than others. We all go through different seasons. Linda McKissick calls them life's unexpecteds. And I've always loved that because you just don't know when you're going to get one. But the difference between sometimes people just living in this, like, everything's great, rainbows and sparkles and sunshine all the time. That's what I would say is it could be a little bit of living in denial, versus optimism is you have a good perspective on it and you just have a clear-eyed intent. And no matter what the situation is, it's not going to stop you from enjoying the best version of your life. The human brain is actually hardwired to think positively, and it actually starts with gratitude. So I want to read you like a quick one page from this book that I'm reading right now, Leading with Gratitude. And I love it. It is so good. This guy, Michael Goldsmith, I actually had never heard of him before. I ended up having to Google him. He wrote the foreword in this book. And here's what he said. I have flown 11 million miles on American Airlines alone, not to mention 1 million miles on British Airways. The airplane is a fascinating place to watch people become agitated over factors that they cannot hope to impact. One trigger that makes a lot of people crazy is the announcement that the airplane is going to be late. You can just like hear that, oh, you're kidding. Every time I hear that particular announcement, I remember a picture in my library, a picture of me on a volunteer trip to Africa with the American Red Cross when I was about 30 years old. With me are many starving children whose arms are being measured. If their arms were too big, they didn't get to eat. They did not eat. If their arms were too small, they did not eat. Their arms had to be just the right size, meaning that they were not too hungry to survive and not too well fed so as not to need food. Their arm size determined whether they would eat that day or not. How crazy is that? I will never forget that experience. It reminds me daily how fortunate I am. When I feel justifiably upset, I remember those children. I repeat this mantra over and over in my mind. Never complain because the airplane is late. There are people in the world who have real problems. They have problems you cannot even begin to imagine. Be grateful. You are a very lucky person. Never complain because the airplane is late. And then he says this, I hope that someday this story helps you turn a moment of pain and anger into a moment of gratitude and joy, because remember, you have the choice. Lots of people struggle with a lack of gratitude, and everyone I've ever met, whether a janitor or a billionaire, wants a happy life. No matter who you are, you can easily look for happiness in the wrong place. The great Western disease is I'll be happy when. How many of you have ever heard that, or maybe even said that before? When I make a certain amount of money, when I get this award, when I complete this task, I'll be happy. What we can all learn is how vital gratitude is for our happiness. The wise and happiest people I've met, including the Dalai Lama and many others, talk about and practice very deep gratitude. What I notice when I talk with them is how freely they express it. Allowing yourself to feel deeply grateful is how you can do something super bold with your life. You can be happy now, not later. And then the last things he says is the key to a happy life isn't what people think. It's not wealth, fame, achievement, or even a great relationship. It's actually putting gratitude at the center of every single thing that you do. And I think that that is something that we need to think about more often. And then he says these three things. Gratitude is actually a mental state. So you can most easily decide to feel it. It has the most immediate effect on improving your well-being. This is something I think actually Adam is really, really, really good about this. If he gets like in a funk, he immediately says 10 gratefuls. Like he's always done that just for the years that I've known him. And he just quickly says that it improves his well-being. And so sometimes I believe that if we're thinking about like, man, we need like a quick pick me up, or we had a bad conversation or something happened, being grateful and having some gratitudes and saying some gratitudes can quickly switch over your well-being. And then being in a gratitude as a mental state is actually going to have a remarkable impact on your ability to lead other people. All of us lead somebody, whether it's our family or our children or office or kids in a classroom, a huge group of people. We are leading people, and having gratitude helps us with that a lot. This is another quick thing I wanted to share you. I'm sure many of you know that this is Neil Armstrong. And so in the end of this book, this is crazy. I actually read you the first page and like the last page of the book. So you don't need to read the book. No, just kidding. So this part I really liked. It says on July 20th, 1969, Neil Armstrong took his one giant leap onto the moon. He was clad in a custom-made spacesuit called an Extravehicular Mobility Unit, or EMU for short. Glad that they did that for the people that don't want to say that out loud. While to those watching on Earth, the suit seemed like a sturdy white tank, in truth, there were just a few layers of synthetics, rubber, and metallized film separating him from the vacuum of space. The tiny meteorites hurtling through the void at 36,000 miles an hour all around him, and the suit was the only thing that was protecting him. Leaving historic first footprints on the lunar surface, Armstrong moved about freely. He collected priceless samples of lunar rocks. He deployed scientific experiments. He even took an unplanned jog to photograph a crater about the distance of a soccer field from the lunar lander, which people said, was very brave of him. He was very well aware that the care and effort put into the suit's design enabled him to return home safely with the suit, right? If something had happened with the suit, he would have drifted off into space. He later sent a letter of gratitude for his wearable spacecraft to the entire EMU team. He wrote of the suit, "It turned out to be one of the most wildly photographed spacecraft in history, no doubt due to the fact that it was so photogenic. With typical depreciating humor, he said, equally responsible for its success was its characteristic of hiding from view its ugly occupant. But the reality was he took the time to write a thank you note to every single person on the EMU team for making this suit. That was actually what brought him home safely. Then he gives a quote from Brene Brown, which I know a lot of you have read Brene's stuff. The promise of this practice, according to Brene Brown, is more joy-filled life. The relationship between joy and gratitude was one of the most important things I found in my research. This is crazy." She said, "I wasn't expecting it. In my 12 years of research on 11,000 pieces of data, I did not interview one single person who had described themselves as joyful, who did not actively make a habit of practicing gratitude." And I thought, man, that is such a good reminder. It's not joy that makes us grateful, she says. It's gratitude that actually makes us joyful. And I loved that reminder because I know it's mid-year right now, or well, I guess a little post mid-year now at this point. And we're, like I said earlier, we're getting like the second wave of craziness. And I think it's easy to find ourselves, at least for me, I'm not gonna speak for you guys, but for me it is, in sometimes an anxious or not great mindset with everything that's going on. Not to mention a lot of us are busy. We're busier than we've ever been. And so that gives us like a whole nother level of with our mindset where we need to be. And I really believe, and I'm going to get back in the habit of practicing gratitude and writing my thank you notes or my words of encouragement every single day to people. So here's some action items towards optimism. Start small and start today. If any of you have read any book on habits, you know that, and I'm bad about this, but you know that you're just supposed to start small. You're supposed to pick like 1 or 2 and go from there. You don't have to take 20. I think, was it on New Year's? I tried to do like 6 different things. Heather told me, she said, that's too many. You've bitten off more than you can chew. You should have done 2 or 3. And she was right. I think I succeeded at like half of them and not the other half. Choose a few ways that you will practice gratitude this week. What are some of the things that you can do to truly practice gratitude? Is it that you need to write some gratefuls down in the morning or before you go to bed? Do you need to get back to handwritten notes? Do you just need to text some people and tell them that you're grateful for them? How can you get back into gratitude? And then write them down, put them in your phone. I'm a big notes person. So thinking of ways that you can continue to be able to do them and to have gratitude and optimism back in your life. So hope this was helpful. I needed a little gratitude pick me up. So hopefully someone else that's listening did too. I really missed seeing you guys so much. Oh, and next week, I'm super excited to share. It's a little bit longer of a lesson. We won't go past the 30 minutes, but it's about the stress spiral and the Thrive cycle. And it's a new thing that I've been listening to and researching on. My coach actually told me about it, Terry, and it is so good. I listened to part of it on my walk this morning, and it was fascinating. So excited to see you guys next week, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week. Thanks. See you
Thank
guys.
you, Dana. Thank you,
Hi,
Dana.
Milton. Thank
Hey,
you.
hey.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. See you later.